guys, that's your Raphael Legends. Welcome to the video. Sending some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there today. Today, we have all the Ninja Turtles Friday. I pulled Leonardo. Pumped! Any of you guys out there, get him. Brag about it in the comments. How many Ninja Turtles do you guys have? But then Saturday, I had to take off for a wedding, which was a great time. But then on Sunday, I came back, and I took my kid to some haunted locations. We had a blast. I'll share a picture if I can remember on the screen right now. Had a blast, but all the while in the back of my head, I'm like, I need to play my Ninja Turtles, man. I need to do a video on all the Ninja Turtles. So yeah, we'll spotlight them briefly at the end of this video, but I want to make this video all about the verdict is in. All the best builds for all the Ninja Turtles, depending on if you have them all or maybe you only have one or two. We'll talk about the differences and how to build these champions, especially Leonardo, depending on how many Turtles you have on your specific team and your account, obviously. I also asked some of the top players in the game what builds they're using, some of the best players in raids, some of the most stacked accounts. Now, obviously, the gear is going to be good on those builds, but the builds are a little bit more unorthodox, might inspire you guys a little bit as well. Last note before we get started is I'll have timestamps for each of the 4 Ninja Turtles. If you don't have one, you don't care about one, go ahead and skip around as you so choose. All right, let's start with Michelangelo. All right, so good old Mikey, we're not going to overcomplicate things, right? We're going to run Michelangelo in Stone Skin in Savage or in Lethal in Savage, right? The most important stat on Michelangelo is 100% crit rate for reasons we'll get into as we revisit all of their skills. I'm going to do this on all the Ninja Turtles because, you know, odds are you know what they do by now, but I want to kind of show what I appreciate even more about them or what I maybe didn't realize at first or how valuable a certain skill is after I've now had a few weeks or months in some cases to play around with these Ninja Turtles a little bit more. Now, this is a PvP build, obviously, with the Stone Skin, but of course you can use it in PvE as well. You could also just swap, artifacts out, depending on how you want to. I personally just run Mikey like this all the time. However, I will say that if I was going to run Mikey, and same thing with Raphael for that matter. If I'm going to run them in PvE only, I don't care that much about arena, or I want a build that is more focused on PvE, and I'll just run that in the arena instead, I would just go simply with Merciless. Now, if you do go with 6-piece Merciless gear, try to slap on 1, 2, or even 3 reaction accessories. We'll talk about that when we get to Raphael, but that's what I would personally go with: 6-piece Merciless or 9-piece if you can pull it off, right? And then just supplement with reaction. That way you can at least stand a fighting chance in the arena, right? So yeah, let's not overcomplicate things. Nice and easy. I have good gear, but not my best gear on him. I'm going for, again, crit rate, attack percentage, speed on the boots. Ideally, I'm going speed, but speed and attack percentage is totally fine as well. But here, again, Stone Skin, I do have attack on the banner. I have crit damage on the amulet, and I have attack on the ring as well. Here's my total stats on my Michelangelo. I will say overall, I'm actually a big fan of Michelangelo. You don't have to build him with insane accuracy because he has some ignore resistance built into his kit, provided we're getting a critical hit. I really love that. Typically, that's a mythical-esque skill, kind of an addendum on these skills, and I absolutely love that he has that. Last Laugh Amulet. I gotta say, it's not a bad little relic. It's not the most powerful in the game, but I'm running Last Laugh Amulet on 2 of my Ninja Turtles. I'm running it on Raph and on Michelangelo. Now, that said, it's not the best relic from Michelangelo. If we're talking about non-mythicals, because you could go Covetous Passion on like basically anybody and just be busted, right? I think I have mine on my Rhodos, right? Covetous Passion is pretty busted, right? We're not going to go through all the mythicals. There's quite a few, honestly, that would be no-brainers on these champions. That being said, Last Life Amulet is really solid, right? And it synergizes beautifully with their kits already because there are kind of fail-safe mechanisms on a few of the Ninja Turtles to keep them alive, and Michelangelo is no exception to that rule. So Last Laugh has a nice kind of combo effect with his passive, which we'll talk about in just one moment. I haven't put the gemstones on him yet, but we'll talk about gemstone choices as we progress through all the Ninja Turtles, right? Lightning Cage, man. Lightning Cage is going to be the way to go in PvP, especially for, I think, all the damn Ninja Turtles, man. Now, that being said, we do have some options, right, as we do on all the Ninja Turtles. In the arena, especially if you have a 6-star Michelangelo Awakening, you could absolutely go Polymorph, right? I would probably try to combine Polymorph with Wand of Submission. You don't want those sheeps heading back his way, right? But Polymorph is a viable option. If you have him at 6 stars in PvE, you could also go Crushing Rend, right? Get a lot of extra damage out of him, right? And then we could go with Lightning Cage. Did I already mention that? I did. Lightning Cage, even at 1-star awakening, guys, is so freaking strong. 50-50 to protect your buffs. Hell yeah. I mean, it's so important to have our buffs protected on all of these Ninja Turtles, and we're not running 9-piece protection on anybody. So having the protection of the Lightning Cage is so, so powerful, so important. I would implore you guys to use Lightning Cage more. Cruelty is the other one I was thinking of. In PvE, you could certainly use him as your Cruelty champion, decreasing enemy defense as well. Masteries. I actually have my old PvE masteries on Michelangelo, but I'm not paying 150 damn gems to swap it around every single time. That being said, you could go with the exact same masteries that you see for the arena and just swap out Helm Smasher. I want to say this, and I want to say it loud for the folks in the back. Going with Methodical on every Ninja Turtle, you know, you don't have to do it on Donnie, but at least the other three, you really want Methodical, right? All of these A1s are going to be used again and again and again and again and again and again and again because they're joining in the other attacks. So increasing the default skill damage is going to be imperative to getting the most out of the Ninja Turtles, especially when they're together. So don't leave home without your Methodical on your Ninja Turtles. Let me go over really quickly his skills, right? I love that he brings his own increased attack on the A1, the decreased defense that can be spread, even at 284 accuracy right now, plus the accuracy masteries, to be fair. But even at that, it's plenty to land it in PvE because he has the ignore resistance, right? If the attack is critical, which is absolutely fantastic. So I love this A2 with the decrease defense. You can spread it. That will ignore 25% of the resistance on the debuff spread as well. Really, really solid. You can't spread stun. You guys already know that, right? But this is a really nice move on a 3-turn cooldown that does a decent amount of damage as well. His AoE on the A3 is his best damage dealing ability, and he has a decreased attack and a leech on the same ability. Moreover, he has taunt. When you have the Ninja Turtles together, or if you just want to use Mikey and like Phantom Shogun, man, taunt can be really handy. It's not the most desirable buff in the game, but dang, I love that Michelangelo has it. It can also make for some awkward situations for your opponent inside the arena. Speaking of arena or anywhere else for that matter, turn order or rotation order of the Ninja Turtles matters in a big, big, big way. Stay tuned for the arena portion while we talk about why, meaning where you place your Ninja Turtles on your team of 4. All right, the party dude is what really puts Mikey over the top. He's not your average free legendary champion. He's actually quite a bit better. He has the chance to evade. I mean, it hasn't been, actually there's Shredder too. But Loki, man, he was the first champion to have evasion in his kit. And this can be an absolute difference maker. Not only do you ignore the damage or evade the damage incoming, but all of the accompanying effects as well. That is so freaking good. And for a champion who's very, very squishy like Michelangelo, it can be an absolute difference maker. I love that he has the evasion, right, and the shield. And he has the Last Laugh Amulet. You can kind of bring those all together. Last Laugh Amulet, we didn't even talk about the other choices, my bad. Cat's Gaze, number 1. I only have 2 Cat's Gaze on my account, right? And I am not spending the damn Star Stones. Oh my God, this relic thing is a mess right now, isn't it? I am not spending how much? 640 Star Stones to move this damn thing away from Titus or Siegfried. I'm leaving it on them. Even though I love Mikey, I'm going to stick with the Last Laugh. Other legendary options: Cat's Gaze, Last Laugh, Wand of Submission, obviously. Wand of Submission is going to be a viable choice for every single Ninja Turtle. All right, that's Mikey, guys. Let's go to, and again, that passive, I don't want to gloss over it. He has that shield on his attack, 300% of his attack when he receives a hit on a 1-turn cooldown, and he has that beautiful evasion that increases if he's under taunt. And what makes all these Ninja Turtles so powerful is obviously all the other turtles joining in on the attacks. Really good, and they all have pretty decent or very good A1 abilities. Now, speaking of A1s, we're going to talk about Raph, who has an elite A1 ability. But first, as promised, I want to show you the endgame builds. This is from Degreer, right? I've shared a lot of his content here. Just an absolute beast of a player, and has some of the most elite teams in the game, and scores for that matter. Shout out to Degreer, the whole Mad Clan family. But what is he running his Michelangelo with? He's running his Michelangelo with 4-piece Stone Skin and a 4-piece Feral set as well. Feral on 4 pieces, a very popular choice in addition to Stone Skin or in addition to whatever you're running on all the Ninja Turtles. We'll talk about why when we get into our Leonardo build. And you can see he's a bit faster than mine, certainly has more attack than mine. Actually, I have a little bit more attack than him, but his is a lot faster, and that feral gear is really, really nice. Higher accuracy on his build as well. A little bit higher crit damage on mine. So that's the Michelangelo. Let's move to Raphael. Raphael, guys, sure, you could run Raph in the same build as Michelangelo, that Savage in Stone Skin, but I like Raph in Merciless, getting that 35% ignore defense. However, if you're going to go Merciless 6-piece on a Ninja Turtle, you better bet you have to go with as much reaction as you can on the bottom to help keep them alive. Even that, it might not always work, right? So I'm going reaction, 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 and I wanted to share this particular build instead of going with a Stone Skin Savage because I really like it, right? Having all that ignore defense is fantastic, but as you guys know, on Merciless, you have a chance of decreasing a random skill's cooldown when dealing damage by 1 turn as well, and you get the attack, the crit damage, and the speed, as well as that 35% ignore defense as well. Just make sure on Raphael, guys, if you are going to go with a 6-piece Merciless, try to stack on as much reaction as you possibly can. I have attack on the ring, crit damage on the banner, and crit damage on the amulet, and attack on the banner. I have attack percentage on his boots. You can go speed on the boots too. Either one is totally fine. Just remember, he's going to be, Raph especially, is going to be joining in all those other attacks on the Ninja Turtles on his passive if you have him with other Ninja Turtles on your team. So he doesn't really need speed for his join-in attacks, and Raph has the most busted A1 out of all the Ninja Turtles with the block revive. So for Raph only, all the other Turtles have speed on the boots. For Raph, I'm going attack percentage on the boots, trying to make him an uber nuker so he can slay and block revive and put down with that A1 ability. All right, we have attack percentage on the chest, and we have crit damage on those gauntlets for Raphael. We have Last Laugh Amulet. Once again, in case you fast forwarded to Raph and skipped over Mikey. Cat's Gaze. Probably choice number 1, maybe number 2, Wand of Submission number 2, Last Laugh Amulet number 3. On Michelangelo, I meant to mention the Arithi Coronet as well as a viable option with his debuffs. On Blessings, we have Lightning Cage. We want to keep Raphael protected as well. Now, Raphael has a very interesting kit where he has this Berserk. Let's talk about his skills and why I love this build for Raph specifically, but first, let's just finish with the Masteries. With the Masteries, I built him with a very typical Arena Nuker build on Raphael. With Retribution and Deterrence, we want as many counterattacks as humanly possible on Raphael because of how good his A1 is. And then we have Helmet Smasher, we have Ruthless Ambush, we have Cycle of Violence. He certainly can hit hard enough to proc it. Nothing wrong with going Life Drinker and Wrath of Slain instead. As we talked about, we have Methodical, don't leave home without it. Every Ninja Turtle gets Methodical because of how often they're going to be using their A1 abilities. Let's talk about Raphael's kit. He's so strong with this block revive and turn meter fill on the A1. 2-time hitter, block revive, awesome. On his Seismic Slam, is a 3-turn cooldown, excuse me. Attack all enemies. Ignore shield, block damage buffs if attacking under a Berserk debuff placed by this champion. If this champion is not under a Berserk debuff placed by themselves, the damage inflicted against enemies under shield buffs is increased by 50%. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. Very, very good ability. Can hit really hard, obviously, but ignoring the block damage is really, really strong in a meta that's filled with block damage absolutely everywhere, right? Not today, knuckleheads. Absolutely smacks. You can blast through easily a UDK, a Star Sage Galathyr. It doesn't matter with this ability. Very strong, ignoring 20% of the target's defense. Perfect Veil and unkillable on the champion for 2 turns if the target is killed. If the target survives, Berserk on this champion for 2 turns instead, and this debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. Berserk, you get 50% extra damage incoming, 50% extra damage outgoing. This makes Raphael an absolute monster. But we would like Perfect Veil and unkillable to be protected, right? So that's why I have him in the lightning cage as well. That can be a huge difference maker for obvious reasons. Now, Berserk will get blocked potentially if we have Stone Skin on him because it's a debuff, not a buff, even though it kind of goes both ways. For that reason, I actually like the reaction in the Merciless over the Stone Skin on Raphael. That being said, it's absolutely not imperative that you go with that. Now, with all that said, even though the 6-piece Merciless with a triple reaction is my favorite build on Raphael, the most popular build in the game on Raphael is going to be Swift Parry with 4-piece Feral or 4-piece Stone Skin, okay? This is, again, I want to show you, kind of have it slapped on from Carnage right now on the screen. I don't have a lot of good Swift Parry gear on my account, so I went with the Merciless instead. But this is, again, from DeGreer. He's using Swift Parry with a 4-piece Feral with 1 reaction banner on his build for Raphael. And look at those stats, just absolutely nasty that he has there with that gear. Mine would be quite a bit less, as you can see, and I don't want to make all those stat sacrifices, so I'm very happy with what I have here. But again, Swift Parry, I would say, is the most popular 4-piece set for Raphael right now inside the game. Okay, let's move on to Donatello. There's 2 elite Donatello builds going around right now. One is going to be a 6-piece Stone Skin, so 2-turn Stone Skin build, and the other one is going to be a 4-piece Stone Skin with a 4-piece Chronophage set, okay? I have my Donatello in a 6-piece Stone Skin because my Chronophage gear, is just not that good. I'd have to make a big stat sacrifice. You will notice I have 1 supersonic piece on him as well because I get a 20 resistance and it's a good piece, right? So you can have broken sets certainly on all these Ninja Turtles to fill in your weak spots or to put a really good relic on them that really fits what you're trying to do with these Ninja Turtles. Now, Donatello, really quickly on the gear here, we have resistance on the banner, we have HP on the amulet, Stone Skin, and we have defense on the, ideally we have HP, but I have defense on the ring. I have speed on the boots, I have resistance on the chest, and I have HP percentage on the gauntlets, okay? We have them built with as much resistance as we can. That being said, I don't quite have enough here, not for endgame arena. We really want like over 800, closer to 900 or even higher, but he's a cleanser Donatello, right? And he has a reset skills on his A2 ability, right? So this is a PvP build for Donatello. And again, that's a 6-piece Stone Skin with as much resistance and speed as you can possibly muster. So I have 727 on my resistance and 331 on my speed. And then after that, next priority is going to be HP because his heal on his A1 is predicated on his max HP as well, okay? So this is PvP. For PvE for Donatello, it's actually quite a bit different, right? Of course, you can use them both. But for PvE, we're going to switch to Relentless, right? So I have a Relentless set on him with a speed set instead. We still want him as fast as humanly possible, but we want him taking those extra turns, and we want to stack up even more HP on him as well. So Relentless with speed, or Relentless with anything that you have that can give additional speed. Impulse is great as well. Is going to be fantastic on Donatello for PvE, okay? So those are the 2 top builds, I would say, for Donatello. Because we're going to showcase a little bit of arena afterwards, I'm going to slop him back in the PvP build, and let's go over the rest of his kit. Wand of Submission, surprise, surprise. Wand of Submission, I think, is best for Donatello. We have his A1, Bodacious Bash. I love that heal. It's not, insane, but especially on an all Ninja Turtles team, Donnie is your main healer, so we want to get as much as we possibly can. Not only does he have the 5% of his own max HP, which is great because he's going in with all those additional attacks because of his passive, right? So that really gets extra oomph in terms of healage out of that A1 ability. But he's also activating a continuous heal, which he brings on his A3 ability. But first is A2, Shell Shocker. It's an AoE, decreased cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns, and then an increased speed on all allies. What a great ability. Donnie is really one of the better support champions released in the game, in recent memory. Secret of the Ooze, the 3-turn A3 ability is a full cleanse with a continuous heal and a strengthen for 2 turns. Also a juicy 20% turn meter fill. So ideally, Donatello is the fastest on our team because he's going to be a turn meter booster for our team. He'll also cleanse their debuffs, hence a big reason to have him as our high resist option in the arena. But even in PV in longer battles, Hydra Clan Boss, for example, this guy's a menace. Very, very good to be your increased speed champion. It's a 2-turn on a 4-turn, but with a Relentless set, you can usually get that uptime up quite a bit, right? I like Relentless in Impulse or Relentless in Speed, by the way. Impulse gets more chances. The best part about Donnie, though, I mean, as if we haven't been waxing poetically enough about Donatello, but this passive is just so freaking good. He's joining in, he's healing, he's instantly activating continuous heals, but he has, whenever an ally is about to receive a fatal hit, he's going to prevent that ally's death, keep them alive with 1 HP, and equalize their HP. That's so freaking strong. That is, we don't have a reviver here in the Ninja Turtles. So he's going to be, well, it's right there in the title. I got you, bro. He's going to be that failsafe to keep your team alive. Now, this is going to proc on the leader in your rotation, right? So you definitely want Leonardo, if you have him, to be your lead in Donnie. Whoever you have as your lead, you want to make sure that you're ordering your team correctly so that the first person on your team, the lead on your team, is going to be the one that's going to get that preemptive fatal hit on those big AoE attacks, okay? Really important because turnover does matter in a big, big way. Lightning Cage on Donatello, surprise, surprise. And then for masteries, we went down, we tried to double down on the resistance, obviously, with Unshakable as our tier 6 option. Now, if I wasn't building him just for the arena, I didn't want to build him with all that resistance. I just wanted to build him more HP and with a stone skin and just, try my luck that way. I'd probably just go with Timely Intervention instead, right? Use him as kind of a reviver in that regard in the arena if you didn't want to go with a resistance. We have Lasting Gifts to extend the duration of his increased speed specifically, but everything else for that matter as well to strengthen the continuous heals. We have all of the healing masteries. We have Cycle of Revenge, more turn meter, and we have Retribution, more counterattacks, thus more heals, thus more continuous heal activations as well. He's the only Ninja Turtle we don't have Methodical on, okay? Because he's not a damage dealer. He is our support champion on the team, and he's going to do a hell of a job. So that is all I have on Donnie. We talked about Juan, we talked about Lightning Cage, and we talked about his amazing skill set. I really love Donatello. He might be my favorite Ninja Turtle behind Leonardo. But first, the Donatello build being used by Degreer in the endgame is actually going to be the Chronophage 4-piece and Stone Skin 4-piece. You can see his total stats there as well. Look at that resistance, well over 900. Yeah, definitely where we want to be in resistance. And he gets, with the Chronophage gear, you get the immutable stack as well to make sure that his skills are not going anywhere in terms of cooldowns. It's Leonardo time, baby. Leonardo, Stone Skin, and Feral is my favorite build on Leo. I got this build from, here is Degreer's build, right? It's the same thing. Listen. With Leonardo, this is what I was talking about earlier in the video as well, in terms of you have an option on Leonardo, right? And it depends on if you're running an all Ninja Turtles team or if you're just running him with maybe one Ninja Turtle or maybe no Ninja Turtles, depending on what situation you got going on your account, right? Probably you'll always have like maybe one Ninja Turtle just to take advantage of that A3. That all being said, what we found is that he gets so much ignore defense, and this Turtles Together hits so incredibly hard, just generally speaking, especially once you get all the TMT Unity bonus, that the extra ignore defense and going in Savage or in Lethal just isn't as valuable as having the 4-piece Feral on him to have that block debuffs on him at the start of the turn, right? Which, again, is another reason we want to have the Lightning Cage on Leonardo. So, I mean, not that on top of all the buffs that he brings to the table, right? So, if you're running an all-Ninja Turtles team, because he's already ignoring so much defense anyway because of all the turtle bonuses, then maybe test it out on your account, but maybe skip the ignore defense and just go in with the Feral instead and see how you like that. Now, I've tried both builds. I know Degreer and a few other players that I talked to in preparation for this video have tried both builds as well, and I like Feral more than Savage or Lethal, and I know that so do some other endgame players. That being said, though, this is predicated on having pretty good gear so you can still hit really hard with the rest of your gear and the rest of your build. We're still building him to be a defense-based nuker. So I will show you how it built him if you're not running him with all the Ninja Turtles, getting that extra ignore defense. It's pretty basic, right? We're building him in a similar way as any other defense-based damage dealer like a Marius. We don't need the, necessarily the accuracy, but Lethal and Stone Skin, right? Lethal and Stone Skin, don't overcomplicate it here. That's going to be the #1 build and probably the best overall build for Leonardo, but I really wanted to point out that you might not need you might not need, that's why I have it titled the TMNT bonus gear. You might not need the ignore defense. You might want to go with the feral instead. Now, all that being said, we have defense with resistance on the banner. We have crit damage on the amulet. We have defense on the ring. We have speed with speed on the boots. We have defense on the chest. We have crit damage with crit damage on the gauntlets on our Leonardo, excuse me. We have 7,500 on the defense, 106, 284, 304. Ideally, we want him as fast as possible. That's going to depend on where you are in your account, where your gear is, of course. He has like a decent amount of accuracy, but it's not necessary on Leonardo. So really, it's all about crit rate, crit damage, speed, and defense are going to be our main stat considerations. A little bit of HP never hurt anybody as well for survivability. Wand of Submission, hey, surprise, surprise! Wand of Submission, again, is going to be a go-to option for all the Ninja Turtles, as well as Lightning Cage, okay? Masteries, we built him to be a freaking nuker, right? He came down. We actually are picking up the Helm Smasher. That being said, you might find that maybe you want to go lethal or savage gear, and maybe you go with the extra crit damage, flawless execution, or something a little bit more unorthodox as well. Me personally, I want methodical and I want Helm Smasher on my Leonardo. Now in last thing here is more retribution, more cycle of revenge as well. You could go with ruthless ambush and shield breaker instead on a more traditional arena nuker build. Me personally, I actually liked hugging the left-hand side a little bit more. I like picking up Life Drinker as well. One thing to know about Leonardo when we look at his kit here is this hero and a half shell passive is incredibly strong. It's busted. Place a stone skin on this champion for 1 turn. Each time his HP drops below 50%, occurs once per skill. This is nasty, but he can still be one-shot, okay? He still have to survive, so survivability is still something to consider, right? But either way, that's busted, especially when we talk about the combo with the A3. On his A1, he'll repeat the attack 2 times against another enemy with escalating ignore defense. Fantastic, predicated on each buff with this champion. On the shell, yeah, he's got to increase defense, he's got to ally protection, he's got to unkillable and a counterattack as well on himself. Fantastic. And then Turtles Together is an AoE that hits incredibly hard. It removes all buffs from all enemies if the attack kills an enemy, and that can't be resisted. But when we get to the magic here of Leonardo, it's when we start parlaying these bonuses here in the TMT Unity. We'll ignore 15% each defense for each other turtle on the team, right? So that's fantastic. Get 45% ignore defense built in if you have the other 3 turtles on the team. Turtles align, increase the damage dealt by this skill and proportional to this champion's missing HP. And then the 3 turtle allies activates the skill whenever an ally's HP drops below 50%. Occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions on the team, blah, 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 blah. Will not activate on duplicate copies of other champions, blah, 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 blah. All right, we give the instant activation as well. This turns him to one of the fiercest, most powerful champions in the entire game. Leonardo. Now, if you're not running Leonardo in the arena, you don't need Stone Skin on your Leo, no big deal. Just go Savage or Lethal, or better yet, go as much Merciless gear as you can possibly land on this dude, right? Go with Merciless, go with a 6-piece Merciless if you can get that ignore defense on him, and then just stack up maybe a couple Impulse pieces or a Zeal, even better, right, on this champion. So just go for that extra damage, right? So that's going to be the way to go. Just all out Merciless as much as you can put on him for Leonardo in PvE. Let's go ahead and run these Ninja Turtles together. What do you say? All right, guys, so we're here in Platinum Classic Arena. And again, I'll say it again in case you fast forwarded to this point of the video. Leonardo is going to be our lead, okay? And then we're going to have, because Leonardo leads and Donatello does machines. We all know the rhyme, Ash. And then we got Raph going next. Next is going to be Michelangelo. And then last in line is going to be Donatello. We like Raph hitting earlier because he does have that hard-hitting block revive on the A1, so he's going to be in the second spot. It's imperative to have Leo, again, the most important Ninja Turtle, in that first spot because we want Donatello's passive to trigger on Leonardo, right? So important that we have them in this order. At the very least, important that we have Leo first and Donnie last on our teams. All right, let's go in. Or Leo first, I should say. So there it is. You can already see, I mean, my team is not fast enough necessarily. Sometimes you don't even have to do anything with the Ninja Turtles. You just sit there. My team's not going to go first, especially in Platinum. My fastest Ninja Turtle is what's-his-face, right? Let's just go in again. Is Donatello, excuse me. And look at this. I mean, this is is this insane or what? Like half the time, if you guys have the Ninja Turtles, you know what I'm talking about. But half the time you go on to a team, nothing even happens, and you've already won the battle. It's really a magical thing. So as I was trying to say, I'm all over the place this video. Sorry, guys. This is what happens if I don't edit my videos. I apologize. What I meant to say is I'm always going second with this dang team for the most part because I'm just not fast enough to contend with these teams in Platinum, but I'm still winning every battle. It's insane. It just speaks to how strong the Ninja Turtles are. So here I can open up with Donatello, and I can cleanse and turn meter boost at the same time, and just get the rest of my my turtles ready to go, right? So we did lose, unfortunately, Mikey there, but we'll be totally cool. We can go with the Unity, or we can just go with the unkillable counterattack here. I'm going to go with the AoE because, I mean, because of that. Now listen, this is Donatello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Donatello with no ignore defense gear on him. This is Donatello with feral gear on him. You see how hard he's hitting? When you're running all Ninja Turtles, it's unnecessary to stack up, in my opinion. Again, good gear, obviously, on the account, but I mean, golly, the results speak for themselves. All right, so again, the enemy team goes. They all go 15 times before I even get a turn, a.k.a. like one time, but whatever. We're going to go again with the A3 on Donatello. He has 2 turns, Stone Skin, fantastic. Now it's Leonardo. We're going to go. They don't have any buff removal here. They do have Star Sage. I'm not sure what they're going to do. They're probably going to keep him in his second form. So we're just going to go and buff up here. And again, we got the, look at Leo just going ham on everybody, right? Just chipping away a little bit, Leo. He's got the unkillable. Okay, we finally get a turn. So we can go with, what I'd like doing here is, there's not, I mean, they have block debuffs. I'm just going to go with the AoE. And I like having the taunt on a Mikey. We already have Marichka down. Now it's Leo time. So we could go, we haven't triggered the unkillable yet on Siegfried, and I think that's going to be the right choice. We do have, the block damage, because we can follow up with the block damage ignore. So let's just go right in there and trigger the block damage now, and then we can ignore it later. So here we go. We're already back to good old Raffy. We can go in there, boom. Okay. He's not under the berserk. My bad. My bad. Do as I say, not as I do. Look at that, man. Taking that ally protection, just keeping Mikey alive. Now we can go in, and Marichka's back up again, but we can go in, and they're all joining in the attacks, even with the A1s. They're so freaking strong. We're going to go in with the AoE. Hopefully we don't. Yes, this is actually a perfect scenario. We're going to pick up Star Sage, get rid of Marichka. Everybody's still alive, even with Nice. We go in. Look at Leo. You can't stop this dude. Oh, my word, guys. I mean, this just speaks on how good the freaking Ninja Turtles are, that we can just demolish a team like this. Look at how stacked it is, man. And the good old Turtles, man, they're just like, yeah, whatever. And Leo, come on, man. Come on. Guys, I wanted to keep this video from being like 45 minutes long, so I'll end it there, but I'm having such a blast with the Ninja Turtles. Hopefully you found this video helpful. Shout out to DeGreer and the other few players that I contacted for help with these builds. Like, what are you guys seeing the top clans use? I hope you enjoyed this one as much as I did.